Welcome into another episode of Crimson Corner. Just as a reminder, this summer we are teasing 22 Kings, which is the song you heard coming in and was our featured conversation last week with superfan and creator Ryan Kirkpatrick. Today, however, we are shifting our focus over to a different music creator. His name is Kenneth Scott. He's one of my really close friends in this industry and a man I admire so much. Gooby, what's good?
Man, what is going on? I appreciate it to the fullest, and I actually heard 22 Kings myself, and my guy did a darn good job with it, man. I loved it, so mad kudos to him.
I know, right? He told me, actually, in the process of creating this whole thing, that you were someone that he also sought out some, I guess, advice from, just because of your familiarity coming up with kind of a Utah football anthem. And so, you know, in order to kind of connect the dots, let's talk about, tell me about, you know, what your thoughts were and what it's like creating something like that, but also hearing someone else's vision, I guess, and having some input on that as well.
Man, the creative process when it comes down to it is so unique and so cool in a way to like kind of be part of the process as well too, because it's like a soundboard. So you're throwing a whole bunch of darts at the board and trying to figure out, okay, which one of these are going to stick. And so that's the beauty in it, and it's also the ugly part of it too, because you can overthink a little bit. But the beauty in it is, you know, finally collecting all those thoughts, putting it into something that's beautiful, like what you did. I love the instrumentation, the live instrumentation sound to it, even the videos, the words that we're saying. You know, so it's really impactful. It's something that, you know, I admired when I listened to it, because you're able to chop up a lot of his lyrics and be able to pertain it to a video. And so like now people can actually hear the lyrics. They can also see it too, because the video that's playing is matching up with it. So it's pretty dope, man. I loved it. I love, you know, speaking with other creators and hearing their processes. So it was just overall, you know, pretty dope.
Yeah. Ryan's a very talented individual, as are you. And it's really cool seeing people wanting to get involved with the program like that, whether it's former players, whether it's fans, or I guess even, you know, media people like me on occasion. Right. But I think the passion for Utah football is unmatched, no matter where it's coming from within that realm and sphere. So, you know, that's kind of been a cool development. It's been a cool thing to watch over the years. But let's get a little more into you and what's going on with you. You've had some exciting things come down the pipeline the last couple of months. Tell us what's been going on.
Oh, my God, Michelle. I don't know how much time you have available, but, man, there's so many things going on behind the scenes, which I'm so happy for and can't wait. So one of the first things is obviously people know me for the first book that I did. But right now I'm in the process of creating my second one, and I have a deadline to complete it by October. Well, the deadline, the manuscript done, it's August. Proofreading sessions and all that is supposed to be done within the next, so it can be published before the school year. And this second book project is more aimed towards the student athletes, right? Helping them transition from one field to the next. So it's my story and my journey and my process, and taking them through the whole evolution, so that if someone reads it from their perspective, they would gain an understanding and it'll help them along their journey. So that's that book, so which I'm super excited about. Obviously, the first one was about me, and this one, the first one was about my mother. Now this one is solely going to be about me. And so with this book, it's going to turn into a curriculum. And so with the curriculum, we're going to be able to put that into schools, so that not only myself, but other professionals, whether it's teaching professionals or what may have you, different athletes, to teach this into the schools, so that the kids that obviously aren't quote unquote the guys that people may look up to, they still will be able to have an opportunity to get to the next level. Because let's be honest, you know, there's from, you know, star players, you got star players on the team, and, you know, people tend to just focus on them. But there's other players that there's other options out there, whether it's junior college, NAIA, Division III, Division II, that they can tap into. And so we're building a curriculum around there to put the ownership in their hands, so they can be able to get to the next level. So it's kind of a roadmap. And then from that piece, putting together content for workshops, so that we can be able to conduct workshops not only at a high school level, but a collegiate level, and also graduate level to help the guys transition out of said sport, or, if they're in the NFL, whatever, transition out of it to get into, corporate life, or if they want to go into entrepreneurship, whatever, right? So it's basically those three. So the book, curriculum, workshop development, and one of the last things, which is near and dear to my heart, is we're starting to create a docu-series based off my mother's book around lupus, and so that's something super exciting that we're touching on. Further more details in the future about that, but right now we are touching on that, trying to figure out a docu-series. My business mentor that I'm in touch with, they recently just signed a deal with Netflix about 2 weeks ago, and so we're going to curate the docu-series, get the manuscripts available so that we can start pitching it to like Lifetime and other stories and shows like that. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, which I'm super excited about, obviously along with my music as well. But yeah, man, I'm just excited. There's so many key things that's going on right now, and I'm just putting my head down and getting to working.
Now, this actually raises an interesting question that as close as we kind of are, I actually don't know the answer to this. It's been a while since we've really, really talked. Are you still working a 9-to-5 job, or are you solely in business for yourself these days?
So I am in the corporate field, but luckily for me, I'm taking all the skills and the knowledge that I've earned from being in the corporate world, passing it on to myself. So now, I'm still working the typical 9-to-5, but a lot of flexibility within what I do, because obviously I'm in the higher end selling and consulting, dealing with Fortune 500 companies and up. So as I'm in these meetings, speaking to them about their business and how we can reduce bottom line and allocate costs to increase their top line, it's actually like an interview process for me to them, asking them hey, how do you develop said business so it can reach said, level that I wanted to attend? So basically for me, I've been doing a lot of interviewing with these CEO level people, getting them to give me the blueprint, give me the answers so that I can therefore remove myself from the corporate world to focus solely on the business. So that's been a beautiful thing.
That is so awesome. You've always been a very innovative type of individual. You always seem to think outside the box, and it's really awesome that you are able to come up with this concept to, allow yourself to just work for yourself. And on top of that, you do come with a lot of knowledge just from your life experiences to be able to pass that on and make things easier for someone else, which I think is really what the ultimate goal in life should be, is to make the path easier for someone else.
That is, oh my God, you hit the point right on the head right there, making the path easier for someone else. But I feel like after you attain the information, right, the only way you can grow individually and for the whole world to be better is giving the information so that, other people can be able to reach their dreams. Because maybe what you're holding back because you're scared to get the information is keeping someone from getting to their ultimate blessing. And so I always preach people man, whatever trials, tribulations that you may be going through or experiencing, always share it with people, because you never know, that could be the missing puzzle for them to get to where they want to be at in life. So that's pretty dope.
So one other thing that's kind of come up for you that's an opportunity to be able to spread your knowledge and teach people the things that you know because of your life experience is doing a TED Talk. What is the process for getting invited to do such a thing, and what made you decide that you wanted to do something like that?
Oh, my God. Man, you don't understand the emotions that I got when I received that text message saying, hey, you've been selected to be a part of the speaker lineup. But in regards to getting into a TEDx or a TED Talk, for me, I'm not going to say it was easy, but I took it as a sales job. I did my prospecting work, right? I seen, okay, what TEDx events are coming up this upcoming year. And I started reaching out to the organizers, pitching myself to them, getting involved as far as interviewing myself with them. And then, after the interview, telling them what I would like to share, on the talk. And if, what I want sharing basically coincides with the theme of the TEDx event that they're hosting, right, then they select you. So there's a lot of people a part of the process, in regards to wanting to get selected to be a part of the TED Talk, because it's a huge old platform. You get on one of these, right? Your credibility and your fees that you may charge now is instantly going to go up now because you have TED as the backgrounding. But the process for me is I just took it in as a sales methodology. I had to understand who's going to be the decision makers, right? Learn and research and do some background, and also realizing my product, which is myself, understanding the target audience in which they're trying to aim for, and then just start, pitching myself. And so that was easy for me to pitch myself because I understand myself and want to share a unique message. So that was the process really in regards to trying to get a TED Talk.
So this event is happening in October for fans wanting to know when to listen in or to look for it. So we've got a little ways before this actually takes place. But it looks like they're having you do prep and practice. How is that going?
So the TED Talk is October 13th. And, for me, obviously they want you to prep and practice, but I took it one step ahead and I joined Toastmasters to get more reputation, more reps in, just so I get more comfortable with. Obviously, I'm very comfortable as far as speaking in front of people, but speaking in front of a lot of people, it's pretty different. So, I joined Toastmasters to kind of prep me to not only know how to deliver a message, but how to format the message in a way that when people hear it, they're like, dang, it's some good take home stuff. It got some good meat and potatoes. You're going to have some appetizers with it. So you're going to have a dessert with it as well to take home. So, me taking that one step and doing the Toastmasters is pretty cool. So the prep work is definitely a lot. Luckily, I have about a couple months in order to get it prepped. So that's the beauty. That's a beautiful thing. So it's just about putting the reps. That's really what it is.
That's something that I've talked about a lot, having moved over to what I'm doing. It's a lot more talking. I'm talking way more often, all the time, almost every day. It's not so much putting my thoughts on paper. It's now being able to either record my thoughts like this or do it in more of a TV type thing. And it's true. It's the more you practice it, the better you get at it. And I've already noticed a difference. So I have no doubt come October, you are going to be so polished and ready to go.
Man, and that's something that, man, I admire you for that because I was, obviously I see the content that you posted and I love, what you post and the frequency. I can't wait till you start doing it day in and day out because people need to hear that. They need to hear the content that's being spread out there. And especially you kind of blazing the trail, right? You're a woman in the sports industry, right? And so I love seeing it. To me, you're following the footsteps of Holly Rowe or somebody, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that's pretty dope, especially coming from your end.
Oh, for sure. I would love to be ultimately compared to Holly Rowe. That would be an amazing jump, an amazing feat. Let's talk about have you decided what the premise of your TED Talk is going to be? And can you give us a little sample?
Okay. You're trying to get the juice before the thing. Okay. But so the theme of the TED Talk is, if not you, then who? If not when? If not now, then when? And so basically for me, when I'm thinking about it is, recognizing your gift, utilizing your gift, to ultimately leave a blessing. And so basically I'm going to tie in that as far as the main theme. And so obviously I'm going to pick a story that relates that can connect. But that's really what it is. That the talk or the message is going to be centered around, if not you, then who? And if not now, then when? And it's basically what I'm going to be talking about is, recognizing your gift, utilizing your gift so that you can be able to leave a blessing, not only for yourself, but for your family, for your community, and for future generations.
That sounds an awful lot like Russell Wilson and Sierra's initiative. I think it's if not you, then who, or something along those lines. Do you know if there's any connection to that, or is that just coincidental?
Yeah, I don't know if it's any connection because the lady's just from Dallas, Texas. So I'm not sure what's too much connection. Probably is. I'm not sure. But yeah, from all I know is she was like, hey, this is the theme of the thing, and this is what we're going to roll with.
So with this TED Talk coming up, how can fans be prepared and ready to listen to that? I
believe, with every TEDx talk is going to be uploaded to YouTube. So right after the event, I believe it's probably going to be about a month or so after they get the edits corrected and things of that nature. They're going to send it off to TED Talk so they can upload it into the YouTube platform so that everybody can go ahead and view it. Obviously, I will be posting it on my social media pages at KScott_2, whether it's Twitter or Instagram. And also throughout it all, I'm going to be I'm trying to get into developing more content, me and myself, because Andre Lewis talked to me about it. Like, bro, you need to put some more content on there. Like, post more. And so I'm starting to get comfortable with posting more. So you'll also be seeing, like, you know, me, like how you said, you know, getting in front of the camera, maybe delivering a word or a message or whatever, you know, in lieu of, you know, preparation of the TED Talk. But as far as the actual TED Talk, it will be probably – it's going to be aired October 13th as far as live, but as far as for viewership, it's probably going to be a month after they do all the edits.
Okay. So, I mean, everyone needs to be on the lookout for this because I know it's going to be really good because it's you doing it and you are just fantastic at everything you touch, I feel like.
I appreciate it.
You know, you have an interesting background where you were, I mean, largely raised by women, single mom, but also your aunts, your grandmothers, they were all heavily involved in how you've turned out. And now you have 2 little daughters that you're raising. Talk about how you feel about female empowerment and just having the ability to know that you can do whatever you want to do.
You know, what's crazy, man. Like you said, raised by a majority of women. So all I've known my whole life is empowering women, caring for them, and nourishing them, and seeing their value of the things and items that they possess that help me get to where I'm at. It's, you know, having my daughters, you know, I'm trying to impose those values in them too, like, as far as being very confident in themselves, you know, walking with such confidence to where they don't need a man in their life. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you want them to get married or whatever, but like have that such confidence and valueship in their life, knowing that they can do anything that they set forth to do. That's why, you know, for instance, I use you as an example, man. Like the way you came through, and regardless of like all the letdowns or whatever, and you stood strong through it all, and you still kept it like progressing and kept going throughout the doors being knocked out, whatever. And now look at you. Like I love the intrinsically motivation inside of you. And so as far as getting to where you need to be in life, where you want to be. And so those are like the values that I took from like my, you know, the women in my life. And like, as far as being, you know, showing strength, being faithful to your journey and persevering through everything. And so those are the same things I try to teach my daughters, being a father of 2.
What are their personalities like, you know, right now as they're kind of younger and figuring out who they are?
So, man, it's weird, but like my daughters are like the polar opposite of each other. Like here you have Brooklyn, who's the oldest, and if she sees you, you know, her have a cut, she'll be like, "Oh, you okay?" I'm like, "Oh, let me kiss it for you." You know, very empathetic, very sweet, very. But my oldest one, my youngest one, oh man, she's like, man, she got attitude. Like she a boss. Like she like if I had to like really put it in a way, I would say Brooklyn is more of like a Venus, you know, leading the way, trailing the way. And then like Kinley is like my Serena. Like she has that, like both of them have that in them, but like it's something about Serena that is just over the top. You know what I'm saying? And I still, like, not saying that Brooklyn don't have it, but like you can see it in Kinley early on. Like it's just that she has something within her that's just, I don't know. You know, it's just beautiful, and I can't wait to see when they grow up and how it's going to really pan out. But, you know, I love them equally. It's just that you can just see it. And, you know, Brooklyn is just the ultimate sweetheart, you know.
Yeah.
And she's a creative mind, too, which is crazy. So Brooklyn, she loves drawing. She loves writing. She's, like, literally the creative, like, split image of me. That's what she loves. She loves reading, all that. And Kinley, not so much. She's more of, like, the physical type. She likes to, like, get rough and stuff like that, you know. And so it's cool to see the different traits in the different, you know, kids.
You should get together with Matt Asiata and have Kenley shadow his daughter, Shawnee, who is a little bad A. I mean, that girl is like trucking boys out on the rugby field, and it's kind of amazing.
Ooh, that's awesome. Now, that's awesome. I thought you was about to say the volleyball one. His kid that is in volleyball.
Well,
is that the same one? That's on the
no, that's a different one. I mean, she's pretty awesome too, but there is something about Shawnee that just makes me smile ear to ear.
Man, I love that family dynamic, man, especially how they rallied after the son, got shot and stuff like that. Man, that family is good. I love that family.
Yeah, they are tough. They are definitely tough. They are a family that does not take no for an answer. It really kind of fits into the Utah football spirit. I feel like most of you guys have, in your own ways, this just ability to overcome whatever is faced for you. And I certainly watched that with you throughout your many, many years with Utah football. You were like the Bryn Covey before Bryn Covey was Bryn Covey.
Right.
And, let's talk about the resiliency of this team and how that stems from the characters that always seem to be involved with it. Because I think last year was just this big kind of crescendo. It was like the ultimate of what it is to be a Utah man, having to get through 2 deaths of teammates. And I mean, just about make it to the absolute highest point you possibly can in college football. New Year's Six bowl game, the Rose Bowl, no less. Wasn't playoffs, but it was right up there in terms of prestige.
Man, you are totally right. And it comes down from the head man, Coach Witt. Man, the program, like literally, I asked Coach Witt, I said, man, when are you going to write a book? Like, because I know that book will have so many powerful messages in there because the program that he's built, it not only helped us like on the field, but off the field as well. Because I feel like, man, I could take literally all those same lessons and all those same core values I learned on like in the mantras and stuff, and I can transfer it into life after. And so, like, man, like what you said, the football program embodies that. And for us to go to where we were, go through all that adversity, fight through, still persevere, and we're going to continuously climb too. It's a beautiful thing, and that's what our program represents. We don't need all the guys we don't need all the bells and whistles like the other programs need. Like, we just need a group of guys that trust in each other, that love each other, that can look aside from each other saying, I got you, you got me, let's ride out. And that's all we need. And if we got that, we're going to go far, and that's what we've proven over the years.
Talk about some of your former teammates, because I know I've told a lot of these stories, kind of the story within the story. I don't think people fully realize just all the little bits and pieces that go on with, a football team. It's pretty incredible. Even I didn't really realize that until I had the opportunity to work with the Stallions and kind of see what it's like day to day on the inside rather than kind of being this observer on the outside looking in at it. But it truly is really easy to overlook stories stories within the story, things that individuals are having to go through, but they kind of have to work on it, but put it to the side because there's an ultimate bigger goal ahead of them.
Right. And, one story I always tell people is the Keith McGill story. That's an impressive story. Here you have a guy coming out of La Mirada, California, highly touted, coming out of JUCO. I believe he was a 5-star, right? Comes into camp. He's not slated to be the star. He goes through some issues in regards to, with the team, don't have that chemistry within each other, the camaraderie. And then there was a clicking point, right? And it changed everything for him as far as the trajectory, not only with the program, but obviously where he's going to go ahead of after the program, which is the NFL and things like that. And, typically in the summertime, what we do is we have a leadership retreat, and we're, the leaders on the team, we go to this place and work on leadership skills. And so I believe once we went to that and we got to know who Keith McGill was as a person, not the football player, as a person, right, and understood what his triggers were, what everything about him, like what motivates him. One thing I remember what Coach Scally said, because people, we spoke about the perspective that we had on him and like what we thought about him. And, what's funny, like after we did that, Coach Scally said, well, let me ask you guys this question. How many of you guys know his daughter's name? And everybody looked at each other and was like, dang, because none of us knew who his daughter was.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, how are we supposed to be a team? How are we supposed to be a family? How are we supposed to love each other if we don't even know who his daughter's name is? And I believe like that moment, that's when it was like, man, he's right. And so once we started loving on him and really, truly, genuinely cared about him, we cared about him, but we really dove deep into who he was and what triggers him and stuff like that. Man, you got the best out of Keith McGill. And he went on to be obviously drafted, played in the league for years, and it truly changed him. And I believe from that conception right there, right, it was applied into fall camp. And then fall camp, we were individualizing to different rules, to groups, and literally everybody's getting to know each other, being a family, understanding their backstory, who their mother is, who their father is, who their sister, their brother, literally everything. I believe there was one time someone in the media asked me, I heard you knew everybody on the roster, and tell me one thing about them. And I was able to do it because of those types of things. And that's something that a lot of people don't know about, but like our team, like we truly, genuinely want to get to know you as the person, not only just the player, because we want to know what motivates you. We want to know if you are going through tough times, how we can get you back, right? So it's one thing to say you actually love somebody, and it's one thing to show that you actually love them. And I believe, that's a little something that we do differently here at the University of Utah, is that we don't just tell you we love you. We actually show you that we love you in our actions. And so that's just what our program embodies.
It's an example of people work harder and they fit in better when they feel like they're appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's true.
That's an interesting story about Coach Scally. I don't think I've ever heard that story before. It doesn't surprise me in the slightest. There's been a lot of talk about what's going to happen when Coach Witt retires. And I think we all kind of know it's gonna be coming sooner rather than later. Now, what exactly that means, only Coach Witt knows. But what do you think about having a guy like Morgan Scally jump in and be the head coach?
Man, I don't think we'll miss a beat, honestly. I mean, obviously there's going to be some type of transition period, but he is what a Coach Witt will be, the same intensity, the same passion, the same love and care, not only for the university, but for the state of Utah. I mean, you look at him as a player, blue collar type player, got after it, and so, I believe his passions and his core values align with Coach Witt exactly the same. And so if he steps in, I think we'll be, obviously we'll still be able to do the things we need to do. And then along the way, I don't think Coach Witt's going to just transfer out without, kind of being like a mentor. So obviously Coach Witt's still going to be there mentoring him all the way through, sort of like how John Pease was. And so rest in peace. Man, he was a great person.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, Coach Scally will step in. I think he'll do great things. Look at Coach Jay Hill, freaking killing it over at Weber State.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Coach Sataki, freaking killing it at BYU, right? He changed the whole culture of it, honestly. Like, they got a different swag over there at BYU. And it's because, the lineage where we come from, as far as, being under Coach Witt and the things that he possesses. So I think, Coach Scally will do great once he steps in. And be able to take the program into a whole, being that he's been here so long and understands the process.
You brought up some interesting names that are also associated with Coach Witt. Jay Hill, obviously up at Weber State. Not Morgan Scally. Well, yes, Morgan Scally, but Morgan's still at Utah. And Kalani Sitake. They've all worked together. You actually got to be around all three of those guys while they were still at Utah, or all two of those guys, I guess, when they were still at Utah. Talk about their personalities and what they did for the program while they were there.
Oh, man. Back when Coach Jay Hill he was the cornerbacks coach at that time when I was there. And, man, his energy, he felt like he was still a young guy out there, all the coaches freaking like Coach Rod and Coach Hill before practice, they'll run like a couple miles before and work out in the weight room and then come to practice. I'm like, God, Lee, you do that every day. And so, Coach Jay Hill, he was phenomenal, man. He was a teacher. That's what he was, a teacher on the field and in the classroom as far as the film room. He was a teacher and someone that he can break it down to a simplistic form so that people can understand it and get it. And he was very empathetic. He connected with his players. And truly got the best out of them, right? He had the Brandon Burtons of them. He had the Lamar Chapmans. He had the, at that time, who else? Who was the other corner? But yeah, he had some great corners out there, Ryan Lacey and so forth. And then obviously Coach Sataki got that fire, that passion, that literally, I know if I ran through a brick wall, I won't get through it. But if Sataki told me and said you can get through it, I actually feel like there's a possible slight chance that even though I know that I can't get through it, I know there may be some chance of optimism that I can't get through it because of, what he told me. And I feel like that's what Coach Sataki embodies. Like he brings the best out of players, right? And it makes you feel more passionate, more connected. I don't know what it is about him, but he brings that to the table. And so, it's no reason why, they're doing such a great job over there on their end. And even a guy like Coach Schramm, I remember back in the day, he was the running backs coach. But Coach Schramm, he had a different approach. He will get in your butt to where you want to cry and want to go back home and say, F this, I'm not doing it anymore. But he loves you as well. Like, he will be hard on you, but he loves you. And the reason why he was so hard on you is because he's like, man, I can see your potential, but I want you to see your potential. And if you're not giving the effort to what your potential is, I'm going to get on you because I'm going to be doing you a disservice because you're not reaching your potential like you should be, right? I shouldn't want it more than you should, right? And so that's why he was so hard on his players, because he's seen the potential in them. But he also sometimes he would be very soft with them because he knew, when you give the hard, the direct conversations, you also need to love and show them that you care. And I think that's what Coach Schramm provided when he was there too.
Utah is such an interesting place just because it's led by great men and it produces great men. There's no doubt about that. This is coming from a female that works in this industry. I have had so many other females that work in this industry that have asked and said, you have the best job in all of college football because you're at a place where you're respected. And it's true. You can see that. And it's not only me that's respected, but there's this level of respect with any person that walks through that building. There's just, you respect everyone. People. You respect everybody.
Yep. Love it.
It's such a great environment to be in. I'm not saying that just to say that. It's really the truth. I've heard it so many times, from former players that's what this is. I can see it with my own eyes. It's not a script I have to be handed. It's just, it is what it is. Utah is legit the real deal as far as a solid, good program that wins on and off the field in college football.
Facts, straight facts, and I always tell people, like, as far as Coach Roderick played a big part in my career there too. Like, not only did he recruit me and kept his word when he recruited me, he kept his word when I was on campus too, as far as everything, how he treated me, because, Coach Rod, he recruited me, when I was a sophomore in high school, because he was recruiting actually this other receiver named Maurice Shaw. Maurice Shaw, he had the same build as me. Literally everything that I ended up doing to be, that was Maurice Shaw. Maurice Shaw was someone that I looked up to when I was a freshman in high school and he was a senior. That's the reason why I wore number 2, was because of Maurice Shaw. Maurice Shaw, when he was a senior about to leave out, he said, I don't want nobody else wearing number 2 except for him. Because he's seen that literally from our stances, the way we pointed at the receiver, the way we lined up. It was literally a replication of Maurice Shaw, because that's who I wanted to be like. And so Coach Rod, he was recruiting Maurice Shaw, and he happened to see someone next to him that may potentially be just like Maurice Shaw in the future, but at a younger age, and may skyrocket more. And so that's what got Coach Rod interested in me, right? And I was a sophomore, and then after my sophomore year, going into my junior year, I just got lucky enough to where I remember I still got the little thing where I was voted as ESPN Top 150 as a sophomore. And so from there, Coach Rod knew about me even before all that. And then once I started getting recruited, that's why I was able to commit to him so fast, because I was there when nobody else was. And even when I got the news in high school about me having a stress fracture in my tibia, to where it was either going to put a metal rod in my leg from my knee to my ankles, or I have to wear a stimulator for 10 hours a day for 9 to 12 months, which led me to miss the first 4 games of my junior season. He was still there. Scholarship still standing right through it all. but he still believed in me, still wanted me. And that's why I was like, man, there ain't no other place I'd rather go, because I felt that love from the beginning. And that's what Coach Rod, man, he kept his promise from there to my mother, to everybody. He still checked on my mom regularly. My mom loved, because she didn't have to worry about me being out in Utah, because he gave her word. Well, he gave her his word and took care of me. And so I will always forever be indebted with Coach Rod and be supportive of him because of the love that he gave me when I not only getting recruited, but even after when I was on campus at Utah. And still to this day.
Yes, Coach Rod is another one that absolutely deserves some love as far as how he treats his players and goes about his business. And he's doing some great things down at BYU. Another guy doing some great things down at BYU that's come from that Kyle Whittingham coaching tree. Well, Kenneth, we could keep this conversation going for a long, long time. I know we could. I may have to have you back on again to just go over some more of this stuff, because you are a wealth of knowledge. But I do appreciate you taking out the time to talk about some of the things you have going on in your life and just some random life things that I think are interesting.
Yes, for sure. Anytime, you know it.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that is Kenneth Scott, former Utah wide receiver, now a businessman, a TED talker, a musician.
Yes, indeed.
You name it, he's doing it and doing it at a high level. Thanks again so much, Kenneth.
Thank you for having me on anytime. Have a good one.
All right. All right, guys, that wraps up another episode of Crimson Corner. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you enjoyed this. In the meantime, until we have our next episode, always remember, go Utes.